So welcome back to the Duel Links year in review for 2023. It's been a very busy year of Konami breaking tons of patterns. Of course, we got Rush Duel, we got box chips and a bunch of different boxes, deck build packs, pickup boxes. There's so much to go through, and so the best way of doing it is a tier list to see, you know what, how good was the overall? And there will link down below to this tier list. You can share it, make your own, and see what you thought of the year overall. So let's start off, of course, from January onwards. New Year's Day, we of course got the Future Circuit main box. This one I'm going to put in A tier for the moment, because I want to see what we got in it. So, this was the Magical Muskets, which were free to play, didn't need this card. We got Cosmo, of course, the Malama Unicorn, Droll, Bottomless, Firewall Dragon, Phoenix, the Cosmo Dark Lady was, of course, used in Pendulum for a bit, more Trickstar support, Dark Hole came in here. I think putting this at an A is a somewhat okay start. It was a good box. It wasn't necessarily the most amazing box in the world, but I don't think it's kind of a B tier mid of the road. Then, on the 11th or 12th, we got the campaign for the 6th anniversary, of course. This was Mirror Force. We got 10 free packs, last 2 boxes, UR Dream tickets, SR Dream tickets, the usual. This, of course, is a S tier, immediately 100%. It was, you know, free stuff always. It's going to be ARS tier, you can't really argue, but the same day gave us Imperial Joker Structure deck. This was an Imperial joke. This was goddamn awful. Now, I'm not saying that these cards here are bad. They're not. But the skill they got, the cards they got, the environment they released in, and it was an EX structure deck, not a normal one. If it was a normal one, then fair play, right? I could kind of get by it, but EX being more expensive and more paywalled, I guess, this just wasn't all that amazing. Also, same day was Selection Box Volume 6. Now, if we go back and look at this one was a big one. Of course, Mind Control, eventually used in the Starless Dragon deck. So, Meta Impact. IDP, we all know, just came out. This is really freaking good. So, very good card. Gizmet Kaku did not do much. Onomatopoeia is of course really good, and we're still waiting on this card to come back. So, in terms of new cards, it was a very good selection box, right? But I personally think these are a big scam. I don't like paywalled content. We don't have a Master Duel, it doesn't need to exist, and so it's good. I'm gonna put it at a C tier, but if it was not paywalled, right, of course, A or B. Then in late January, we got Revolver, our first S tier character for Duel Links. Really cool skill, got better over time. His level up cards were pretty good, his event cards as well were really great, and his mini box, the Lord of Boral, was also, I think, in the A or S tier. Let's take a look real quick and see. This, of course, had Borreload, Madolche, which of course got a card via the card trader as well to buff it up. Then again, looking at this, right, we did have the Rocket deck, which has like not been touched on the balance at all since the release. So in that sense, it was really good. But everything else here, apart from Madolche, didn't really convert into any form of tournament play. And so I'm going to move this one. I guess if I'm keeping Circuit here, then it's got to stay in A. But maybe both of these go down to a B. Right, maybe they do. But we'll put it there. Then, February, we got Shaker Asaki. And Raid Raptors didn't really do a whole lot, and I can't remember anything stand out from his level up card, but I don't think it was overly offensive either. So, I'm going to put you at B for the moment. Of course, the main box, though, was really freaking good, as far as I remember. Of course, you had Raid Raptors, which were a bit expensive for what they were. They're an okay deck, not amazing. Dark Requiem came via skill for Phantom Knights. We got Crusader as well. Both saw success. This especially in the KC Cup. Time Star would be very good going into the brand new structure coming in May. So this is also a bit of a future support. Really cool. Mech Lords also did quite well with these new cards as well. So I'm okay with putting this one above these two. But this one, I think Lord of Boral is like a B plus low A. I'm really, you know, I think we might put it here. We might just do that. Then, in early March, we got a campaign for the 25th anniversary of the card game, free DMG Altar, free Magic Cylinder, a brand new skill, Dream Tickets. This was really good, and alongside it was the Magician's Structure deck. Now, this didn't do a lot competitively, but it was really good in reprinting down Magical Circle. There was, of course, new support cards for the Fusion, Magical Dimension came out, and so I'm going to put this one as an A tier deck. This was really good. Then, late March, we had Zone, and Zone, of course, brought Time Lords. They are actually kind of okay on ladder. When you do face them, they're really annoying. But, as you can see from the icon, maybe, there's a bunch of UR tickets on this, and so I think this character was mainly a ticket farm, and so I'm gonna put you down at C, because you weren't awful, but there was also room to improve. Alongside him was the Pulse of the Quasar box. Now, this one I think I'm gonna put in A tier for the moment. Gonna check it, because this was, yeah, okay. This was RDA, this was your Shooting Quasar Dragon. Sulfur Cord was a really good deck, very free-to-play friendly, via the skill as well, insane. Yazzie reprint was also big, but these two got skills for them, and the Jack one was really good. The Yusei one was even better. The deck had to be emergency nerfed, and so I think that's a good sign of how good this box was and the support around it. So A tier, I think that's fine. Maybe even S tier, you know? You know what? Yeah, we'll put you in S tier for the moment. Then we've got Quinton, who as a character, on release, people kind of thought, what could you give him? Right, a bunch of really bad machine rank 9 support? But no, he came with a bunch of Cosmo cards by his drops. And so I'm gonna put you in S tier, because whenever a character gives you a good chunk of the archetype for free, that is good. When it's a somewhat meta-relevant deck type, now we're seeing of course new support on our news box, he has gone from strength to strength to strength, and again with a level up increase, this character has been really, really good. Similarly, we've got Soul Flare Lightning, the main box, which of course goes to S tier immediately, because of one set of cards, the Orcust. Oh boy, and of course reprinting compulsory was great, but these cards were the bane of people's existence on Duel Links ladder for a good while. It took a bunch of nerfs, Chronomaly, got more support Crusader as well, more support Security Dragon. S-Force came out and didn't do much, but they are a very cool rogue deck on the ladder now, so this box has just kind of aged well in some respects, poorly in others. The Magistus, which of course we used alongside Odd Eyes, alongside Charmers, and now Shadows, and so a lot of this box has aged quite well. So overall, a really good set. Then into May was the big month, right? The Road to Worlds campaign, bringing of course Odd Eyes Raging Dragon, Dream Tickets, the skill, a free copy of the Odd Eyes Challenger Structure deck, which I'm going to put in A tier because this deck was needed for the... this deck was good, right? You know, you got Pentacle, Oath Dragon was insane. These two cards really made this deck free to play. Getting a free Dark Rebellion was also really, really big. But beyond that, the other new cards weren't amazing. It really came down to what was available in the skill, but also the support coming by the Wings of Clearness mini box. Now, this of course had Pendulum Magicians, Speedroid, we got Crystal Wing via a bundle deal, we got Void Ogre for rockets, we of course got more radar support, and Abyss Actors. This was a very, very good box, and combined with Yugo, who had some good cards and level ups, a incredibly bonkers skill for Speedroids, this also was an S tier character, 100%, and the fact that new players couldn't get him for a long time, and many were locked out of playing Speedroids, one of the best decks in Duel Links at the time, just shows how good he was, right? How good he was. But now, we kind of go down a bit, and we go down to the Blazing Gearfried EX Structure deck. Now, this deck on release didn't do much. This card is really, really cool. The skill was okay. It had to be buffed a bit, but it's still not a great deck overall. These two cards, Sublimation Knight and the Gearfried, are really, really good when the right support comes, and so this deck is kind of chilling at the moment in D tier. It's not Joker level, but it's cooking, it's waiting for its time to be really, really good. Then, similarly, we've got Grandpa, who came as a filler character, and he had no real level ups of note, and they could have done some really cool things by the skills. Yes, of course, got some Exodia skills and a Blue Eye skill, but the skill was really bad. They could have done some cool things with him, but they didn't, and so he's going into D tier because he's just a gem farm, and that's about it. Then, Zillion Thunder, the main box coming alongside Grandpa. This one is going to go in C for the moment. Let's check it out. This, of course, had the Monarch support. Heroes, okay, this was a really good deck on ladder, so might bump it up Crackdown as well. Armed Dragons were okay, but not amazing. Arctic, though, were really good, surprisingly good. And so, you know what? Let's go back and bump you up to B tier. I think that's fine. Then, into July, we got Selena as our only bit of content. No box, no selection box, no mini box, no structure deck. She was really, really good. Great skills, great level up cards, more support coming later in the year. This was really cool. Selection Box Mini, Volume 5. This one was also not that great. There were some cool cards in it, of course. We, of course, had Torgal going to Limit 3. We had Foot on Sanctuary, but that was kind of it. There was the Infinitrack SR, which, cool, but payload content again is really, really bad. Then we had Spirit Charmer's EX Structure deck. Now, this one on release was looking like a bit of a D tier. Then the skill came out, and it's kind of gone up a bit, and it's seen play more and more. And so, I'm gonna put you into the C tier. This deck was fine, more support came, cool. Then we got Lito, who came with banner boxes. He was just kind of a C tier character again. It was nothing overly offensive, but wasn't a great character to unlock. However, alongside him came a really good mini box, the World of Barian. Now, this one of course had your BLS support, Utopia, and Tenyi and Toon. This was a banger of a box, 100%. A really good cap off to the end of the last full year of Speed Duel. This was really great, but alongside it came something even more important, the deck build box Chaos Archives. Now, this box reprinted cards from Utopia, from Barian, from BLS, and it was genuinely really good. It was very cheap, very free to play friendly. The only downside, of course, was it's time limited, and so that's why I'm putting it at A tier, not S tier, but overall, very, very good. Then, the Spice. The end of the year comes, September, Seven's World in Duel Links. First of all, the campaign, getting Dream Tickets, a free prismatic card from the brand new box was really cool. 3 packs from the last box. This, of course, was fantastic. Selection box, Super Mini Volume 3. This was not it. This had, like, the only notable card in here is this Terra's Overroot, and no one's playing it. No one's playing Underclock, no one's playing the Stellar Glare. These reprints made no sense. It was clearly a box they kind of had to put out to have something there for speed characters, but it wasn't very good. The Seven's New Road main box, though, was actually really, really good on the front of bringing new cards to Duel Links, right? Look at this box, it's pretty stacked. The only downside, of course, was there was no back row really in the game worth playing aside from Phantom Bind. But if you were to be given this box any other context, this would be really, really good back row removal, a decent battle trap, all the boss monsters. This was a great little product. Then we had the Structure deck, the Volt Speed Light Condor, which was okay. The best card in here by far is the Torna, which is a shame it's locked behind a Structure deck, but does kind of make sense. This deck is fine for getting King of Games. It might struggle now, but on release, it was free, so people picked it up and it was generally okay. The big thing though was everything else for Seven's World, right? The 4 characters they won, they were great. Their skills, pretty cool. But the fact they only released at level 20, the fact they had mixed cards in the level ups and the gate drops, really puts this down to being a D tier for me. I can't put an F tier, it's not a complete failure, but it is a bit of a slap in the face given that previous years, right, when we go back to Arc 5 World, we had 4 characters with 30 levels of rewards, and we didn't have this whole mixing of gate drops and level ups, and so Seven's on release just really was this real mixed bag, and the things that were really bad really kind of brought it down, especially when this is like a new introduction to Duel Links for new players, but very quickly became apparent that they wanted you to go into Speed Duel and playing Speed Duel, and that's kind of what happened. But we then went from a little bit of a low to a very big high in Mimi, our next S tier character, of course. Very good skills, great level up cards, very good gate drops via the Seals Carrier and Seahorse Server, I think it was, which became meta staple almost immediately. So overall, Mimi was really freaking good. Then into October again, the 100th Legendary Duels campaign. Free your Dream Ticket, we got a free Prismatic from one of the last 3 boxes, a bunch of Blue Eyes cards, right, 3 alternatives, OG Blue Eyes art came back as well. This was really, really cool. Of course, going alongside the Deep Emotion main box, which is it's a real banger of a content box, right? Maybe not from a meta perspective, right? Because Live Twins, whilst they've been good, they haven't been super top tier. Effect Vader came out, didn't do a whole lot, but now we're seeing played more because of Constella. We got Neo support by the skill, of course, Multicast support for Emma as well. Overall, a very, very good box. Not for competitive play, I think, but more for content. This was great. Similarly, Emma, I'm going to go for a solid, multi-fake does kind of mean she's up there, but her skills weren't great, so I'm going to go for like a very high B plus overall. Cool. Then, the big one that changed everything. Deck Build Box Wild Spirit. Instant S tier, reprinting, 3 complete deck types pretty much, give new support cards. This is what selection boxes should have been, and I hope going into the anniversary that Konami know this and they kind of move away from it, because this is perfect. New support, targeted reprints, it doesn't expire, there's no paywall, it's relatively affordable, and you can put more skills alongside it to sell cards on the boxes. This is really freaking good. Konami, well done. Amazing content. Then, a campaign again, for Red Eyes. This one going into A tier because it was an SR Dream Ticket. It was more rush focused, which is fine. New skills for Red Eyes for speed and rush, more Dream Tickets, more gems. This was great for the Gaia Rush Festival, alongside Roa, who I'm going to put in A tier. Then, of course, a box of Rush Duel as well. This one going to S tier. I think this box is way better. Aside from Bender Break, this box I think is really, really good. The downside is there was no size difference compared to the main box. The main box had less packs and more URs. This mini had more URs, but the same packs as a normal speed mini, and so it didn't feel as great of a product, but in terms of meta relevancy, it was really, really good. Then, the Goha Rush Festival. This was a KC Cup retrain, right? Which is fine, but there was a PvE side to it. And so if you were a speed player, you could play literally 80% of stage 1, not touching rush PvP, which was really good, but also let you farm rewards for characters that weren't in the game currently. So Roa, Mimi, you could farm them for the Seals Carrier, the level 6 Royal Rebels. Then we got a speed box after the Goa Rush Festival, and this one I'm putting at B tier because I don't think it was as meta relevant as people kind of expected when you saw Ancient Warriors, but it's a really good content box, right? Red Eye support Ancient Warriors, you've got the Amazement who are obviously being teched into more decks, you've got more Witchcrafter support, more Boojins for the pickup box. This overall was a really, really cool little mini box, but timing, especially given the main box came out after it, wasn't really the best for it. Oh, if Speed had to get a crap structure deck this year, then Rush 2 as well, didn't it? This was not great. Right across, the only good card in here, I think, is Ralph Magic, the spell card. But even then, you're paying 500 gems for the barrier and this, which I think, going for those, for that price, for a free-to-play Rush player, is fine, right? If you don't invest in the boxes, buying this to get these two, buy the bundle for Widespread, and you've got more staples for your deck. And so, I think in that sense, it's fine, but as a structure deck, as the only Rush content we'd get for December, it was not really that great. Then were the pickup boxes for Arc 5. Now, as a product, these are really good, right? You can't argue with all these reprints being so cheap. But the timing was really weird, releasing a week before the Arc 5 event, alongside a 6 level cap increase, and not having any of these decks in this box be supported in the upcoming main box. You'll be getting a pickup box for some archetypes in the main box on January 11th. It feels like they could have swapped them around, and this would have been way better of a product. So it's still a great product, but timing made it feel really weird. Then Duelist Road Arc 5, this was new, it's the same as usual, so C tier I guess. Now, on to new updates and features which Konami kind of knocked out of the park with this year. First of all is Legacy Duels. Now this was a last year feature technically, but for the first 8 months they brought us back constantly, going to GX, they kept refining it, and it's kind of a C tier event, right? The rewards weren't great, the icons were fine, the overall metagame was a bit of a mixed bag, and since Rush Duel came out, we've not seen it come back. So I hope this year we see it come back via 5Ds, that could be really cool, but maybe go more down the anime route rather than being like, you know what, put Crackdown in the format, that'll be good. No, it won't. Then we've got more bundles. These are going into the beta category. I like bundles, they are a great way of giving us cards that they want to be limit 1 or limit 3, and the downside is you can't choose which packs you're going into, which I think is the big thing, right? Because if you saw back at Christmas, right, we've got 2 bundle deals, and people bought them going to the mini box when they should have waited for the main box, which had more Sword of Constellars, and would have made more sense, right? So I think being able to choose what box you go into with these would make them so good, and would really put them at an S tier, right? But for me, despite the level of bundles we got were overall really good, I think most of them, like 80% probably, saw play. I think the only one that really didn't was like 1 for 1, and maybe Terraforming, because you had like, the only deck really Terraforming played win was the Trickstar one, and it clashed with your Trickstar Light Stage, so yeah, that wasn't the best kind of play. Then we got the box chips in June, I think it was, and then they kind of took them away for a bit, and then brought them back with a brand new world, now they're in Event Rewards. These are going into A tier. Really good, you know, these are fantastic, right? Give these over tickets, great. Downside is the card pool is very limited, and the fact that all cards cost the same, right? A common costs the same as super rare as an ultra rare. And so I think they should be tiered. So maybe I can get 1 UR with 100 box chips, or I can get 1 SR and 2 normals, for example, right? Scale them down a bit. That will be the only improvement I kind of have. And the last one is the biggest change to Duel Links this year, was the archive skills. And this was, I think, the best thing they did, because they're running out of anime decks and characters, right? If you look at what we've got left, it's mainly Arc 5, Zexal, and Vrains, and of Vrains, there's like 3 or 4 characters. Arc 5 got a bit more, Zexal, again, there's a bit more, but it's more of the same, and so we are kind of approaching that point where they've got to do something different, and giving non-anime deck skills is the best way of doing it, and I think overall, the archive skills have genuinely been a bit more balanced than the legendary skills have been. I think that's a good way of doing it. I still think legendary skills can be a bit broken, right? The Super Poly Neos one is bonkers, but archive skills have done a pretty good job of making them seem okay. You know, they've been okay. But overall, that's my year in review for Duel Links for 2023. It seems to be a pretty positive year. You know, for all the doom and gloom of Rush Duel killing the game, it obviously didn't. There were some highs, there were some lows, but overall it seems there was more highs than lows. So let's hope 2024 can be just as good, but given the trend Rush Duel is doing now with some of its content, I think we might be seeing a bit of a more bottom-heavy year going into 2024. Who knows? Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you on the next Duel Links video. See you then.